Welcome back to She Will Empower. I'm Jessica Cherry, empowerment and breakthrough coach, NLP practitioner, award-winning writer, radio and podcast host, and your sound bath girly. We're diving into something big, something that could literally change the direction of your life starting right now, if you allow it. This is the Power Pathway, 10 steps from here to your next level. And listen, if you've ever whispered to yourself, I'm tired, but I can't stop, or I feel invisible, or it's too late for me. That one is my pet peeve. It's too late for me. This episode is for you because you are not broken. You are burned out. And burnout doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been strong for too long without the support that you needed. But that ends today. I'm walking you through 10 life-changing steps, not fluff, not toxic positivity, practical, grounded, powerful steps. So take a breath. This is your personal permission slip to rise, not with perfection, but with power. Step 1 is awaken the awareness. You cannot change what you won't confront. Let's get that out in the open and let me repeat that. You cannot change what you won't confront. Let's start there. Think about your life right now. What is not working? Is it your job that drains you so much that by the time you clock out, you have nothing left for yourself or your family? Is it the relationship that you're giving 110% and getting breadcrumbs back? Or is it the silence, the unspoken resentment, the conversations you keep swallowing down because you don't want to rock the boat? Awareness is scary. I won't lie, it is scary. And it's shining a light on the cobweb corners of your life that are so dark or creepy that you would rather ignore. But here's the truth. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I'll give you an example. One of my coaching clients is a 30-something-year-old mom of two. She came to me saying she felt numb. Not angry, not happy, just numb. So when we unpacked it, she realized she had been tolerating a job she hated for 5 years. 5 years because she didn't want to disappoint her coworkers, okay? Her body knew it before her mind did. She was carrying chronic stress from it, from the job, coming home unfulfilled, lethargic, not motivated to do anything, just blah. You've heard that. You felt that, right? That feeling of blah in your life before. Cooking became a hassle. She would lash out. She was so exhausted and scared to change. She worked retail, and I have worked retail in my very early days, and that is hard. And when we addressed it, she finally saw that by taking a step back and examining from outside the box, that it wasn't where she wanted to be a year from now, let alone 2 or 3 years from now. And when she awakened to the fact that this wasn't just laziness, but it was her body screaming, pay attention. This was her moment of clarity. And clarity hurts when it's at first. That first moment of clarity, that hurts. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's like, ow, But it's the first act of power. Awareness is radical honesty. You want to ask yourself, what am I pretending not to know? What am I sweeping under the rug? What do I really need to look at for my own happiness? And is it going to sting at first? And if it does, oh well, because it needs to be done for my own good. Right? So that's step 1. Now, step 2 to level up to your next level is to feel it, to free it. Your emotions are not the enemy. They are the messenger. So burnout can often be unprocessed disappointment, grief, or anger. And I'm confident that most listeners have felt it at some point or another. And I'll speak for many women, especially as moms and caregivers. We are experts at swallowing our emotions to keep the peace, especially around the holidays coming up this time of year. But here's the deal. Whatever you don't want to feel and process for whatever reason, you carry physically still in your body, and it shows up as exhaustion, irritability, or snapping at the people that you love the most. Nod your head if you've been there, because I know I have been there a time or two. And let's say, I'll just give you an example. I had a listener write to me saying that she found herself screaming at her kid over cereal. And then she continued her morning, taking the kids to school, kissing them goodbye, and then she came back home. And when she got home, she cried in the pantry, ashamed of herself. It was never about the cereal. This was about bottled up resentment, about always putting herself last, and about being in a marriage where she never, ever felt heard and didn't want to speak up about it because she didn't want to deal with it. So that cry for her was about seeing herself and then realizing that she was feeling like she poured herself so much. And the more she poured into others, the more she was losing herself. And it was swept under the rug this entire time. Or was it? When she finally allowed herself to cry in the pantry alone on the floor next to the potatoes, not just little tiny tears, but ugly, guttural sobs, she said she felt 10 pounds lighter. That, my friends, is not weakness. That was pent up emotions and energy leaving her body. That was allowing herself to feel it, to free it. That was processing emotions. That was giving herself the time and the space for a good healing cry. So no more sweeping under the rug, no more turning the other cheek on herself. She allowed herself to feel her bottled up emotion, and she felt so much better once she did. There is no shame in feeling emotions that you carry about things in your life. So feel it, name it, honor it. Your tears, your anger, your grief, they are sacred releases. A good cry is just that. It's a good cry. And many people forget the good in a good cry. So try this. Next time you feel heavy, sit in a quiet space. Put your hand on your chest and ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? And let it answer. You don't have to fix it right away. Sometimes just acknowledging is enough to start the healing. You're not weak if you let out a good cry. And hey, we have all been there, and that's okay. You don't want to keep your emotions bottled up. Then hey, you know what? Did you know that act of bottling up your emotions, it causes more harm than good? Google it. Google what holding in your anger does. For example, for you physically, like your stomach lining, is not a good thing. Trust me. And in order to get to your next level of where you want to be in life, where you're going, you don't want to be carrying the weight of unprocessed emotions with you. You want to feel free at your next level. And that means that at times, you will have to take a good look at how you feel about certain things and assess the situations that you're in. And in order to be your best self, you need to honor yourself, your body as a whole, feelings included. Now, step 3 is to rewrite the inner script. Old programming doesn't build new realities. So here's the thing. How many of you have heard that loop running in your head, the one that says, I'm too old, I don't have the time, and I always mess it up? Let me tell you, those are not facts, okay? Number one, they're scripts someone else wrote. So whether it's your parents, society, that toxic ex, or even a culture that profits from your self-doubt. So I'll give you an example. One of my friends is 42. After her second divorce, she said, I guess love is just not for me. And that was her script. But when we worked together, she rewrote it. She now believes love gets better as I get wiser. And she is now in the healthiest relationship of her life. So that goes to show that the words that you speak to yourself are either the bricks that you build for your future or the chains that hold you back. So here's a practical tool. Write down your top 3 negative scripts that you say to yourself, and I want you to cross them out. Now, beside each one, rewrite the empowering vision. Then say it out loud every single morning. And maybe because of the old rewiring that you have, you won't believe them at first. But the mind is a funny little thing. And the more you tell yourself these new things, the more your mind will find ways to believe it is true. And that is how we rewire. So step 4 is to reignite your identity. So you are not who you were 10 years ago or even 10 months ago. But for so many people, we cling on to these old versions of ourselves. So maybe back in the day, you were the party girl or the yes girl or the person that was always available to say yes to all the things, even though your life evolved and you got your own personal responsibilities and you were trying to be the yes person, but you got this going on and it just clashed, right? So identity isn't just about changing into somebody new. It's about remembering the person you were always meant to be and allowing yourself room for growth, for personal growth, right? So I'll give you an example. After kids, I hear so many women say, I don't even recognize myself. Well, of course not. You're not supposed to. You have evolved. You've grown. So I had a client of mine recently say, I don't even know what I like anymore. I have no clue. So together we started trying tiny little things like rediscovering her love for country dancing back in the day before kids. She used to love two-stepping. So that spark reignited her sense of identity and ultimately happiness. So she didn't feel so lost in the identity of parent anymore. And she discovered that she still is a person outside of motherhood. You are more than your job title. You're more than your role in your life. It is a part of you, but it's not your complete identity, right? So in order to get to that next level, you can reignite passions you may once have had that you feel you may have lost over time. So I want you to ask yourself, if I fully believed I was worthy, how would I walk into a room? How would I speak? What would I no longer tolerate? So try walking through your house today as your future self. Strengthen your spine, speak with certainty. It's not fake. It's rehearsal for the person you are already becoming and exactly how to reignite your identity. Now, step 5 is to create micro momentum. So small wins break big walls. So we often think change has to be dramatic. So quit the job, leave the relationship, move across the country. But real transformation, it can also totally be built just 1% at a time. So for example, if this is you and you feel like you can relate to the I don't have time for self-care, zero, zip, nada, I want you to start with 5 minutes. 5, okay? 5 minutes of walking around the block after work. 5 minutes of stretching. 5 minutes of sitting in silence and feeling gratitude for all that you do have in your life. 5 minutes before bed reading a couple pages of your favorite book or listening to your favorite podcast or sitting in silence, just 5 minutes. 5 minutes doing something you want to do that gives you peace, joy, and fulfillment. 5 minutes. See, here's the thing. Micro wins stack. Drink the water. Send the email. Speak the boundary. That's momentum. And the best part is once you start moving, it's easier to keep moving. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one tiny decision that I can make today that my future self will thank me for? Create that micro momentum and get to your next level. Now, step 6 is to own your energy. Now here, by owning your energy and accessing it, I want to focus again in a minute about burnout because we can easily cross that threshold into an area around this time of year. The holidays, the burr months like September, October, November, December, this is when we feel it the most. So burnout isn't about doing too much. It's honestly about betraying yourself way too often. So every time you say yes when you mean no, you spend energy you don't have on something you didn't want. And your time and your energy are the most valuable currency that you have. You don't get it back once it's spent. Once it's spent, it's spent. And your own energy, you need to spend that wisely. So I'll give you an example. I had a woman that told me she volunteers for every single thing at her kid's school. PTA, after school activities, field trips, you name it, she's doing it, or she did it. And she didn't want to be judged as the uninvolved parent, so she hooked herself onto all these things, right? Meanwhile, she's running on fumes, yelling at her kids, and resenting everyone. And when she finally owned her energy and said, no, I cannot this time, she reclaimed not just her schedule, but her peace of mind as well. And personally, I've had to learn this the hard way too. I know that there are those out there that know that I wear several hats and I get asked a lot to do things and to be at places. And I used to have severe guilt when I said no. All right. This was like really, really deep guilt because I wanted to be a people pleaser. And I also wanted to challenge myself to do all the things and to be at all the places. And I recently had a swift back to reality moment when I experienced burnout. And not only burnout, but I was starting to become really sloppy at the things that I was committed to because I was all over the place. I didn't like who I was becoming when I was sloppy, right? Because the things that I was committed to, I wasn't performing them well because I just had way too much on my plate. So owning your energy means reclaiming your time, your boundaries, and your right to choose what fuels you. So I want you to practice this phrase. That doesn't work for me right now. That doesn't work for me right now. Okay? Period. No excuses. Now, step 7 is to set fierce boundaries. Say no without the guilt. Zero guilt. Okay? Say yes to your dreams and things that make you happy, but say no without the guilt. And I know it is hard, but it is also possible, right? Boundaries are simply clarity in action. They show others how to treat you. Or I'll give you an example. A client of mine had a family member who constantly dropped off their kids to them. Free babysitting, no Thanksgiving, no balance of the relationship, just here are my kids, bye, I'm going out. They ended up being so exhausted and resentful and just not feeling good about the relationship, right? Because I mean, when you have no boundaries, people don't know when to stop. They don't know how to treat you. You don't set boundaries for yourself. So we practiced and practiced and got them confident saying, I love you so much, but I can't take them this week. Okay? Find someone else. So they were terrified that their sister would be angry, but guess what? In the beginning, it was a shocker. There was how could you do that? How could you change? But after the dust settled, the sister adjusted. Boundaries teach people how to respect you. So boundaries are not selfish. They are self-honoring, and people may have an issue with it at first, but it is what it is. We need to set boundaries for our own self. They're not selfish at all. So I want you to ask yourself, where am I tolerating behavior that doesn't align with my worth? Practice what you're going to say to establish them and then move forward. People will eventually adjust. Setting those boundaries and honoring yourself is totally the next level move and one that I really, really want you to implement. All right, step 8 is to practice present tense power. So let's talk about that. Manifestation, goal setting, all that subject matter. I don't want you to think about it as a someday we'll do it. No. It's a now. We truly, at our core, only have the present moment. We can plan and plan and plan for the future, but we really only truly have this moment right here, right now. The past is the past and the future is not guaranteed. So we only really truly have the right here, right now. And I want you to practice that and start living it by the power of the present tense, the right here, right now. And listen, confidence doesn't come before action. Action builds confidence. Do you know some people that keep saying, one day I'll do this? And I have been there myself, so I can say that. One day I'll do this. And the one day is now several years. The one day that they've been saying, one day I'll go back to school, one day. And it's been years that this one day has been in their mind. One day is not going to happen. It's not. Readiness, this whole readiness is a lie. Do one thing today, okay? Find your needle moving action and move the needle in the direction that you want to go. So time passes whether you want it to or you don't. And time is so precious. You don't get the time back. And then you end up living with regret if you don't do it. So the future you is not a wish. It's a frequency. Tune into it and do it. So I want you to do this. Each morning, act like the person who already has what you want, what your heart's desire is, what you're going for in life. Make decisions as them. Make decisions as your future person that you want to be. That's how you collapse the gap between today and your next level. So reverse engineer what you want and go for it. Go for it like life is not passing you by. Like go for it. Be in the moment before you can't anymore, before it's too late and you find that you don't have the time anymore and you are living with regret. Living in the present and acting on things that you want is where you want to be. Even one tiny, tiny step each day builds a momentum to get you from where you want to be to your next level. So go for it. So step 9 is to call in your circle. Healing happens faster in safe spaces, in camaraderie. Humans are meant to be in groups. Lone wolves burn out, and empowered people rise together. Think about back in the day with cavemen. Cavemen, they hunted in herds. They hunted together and in groups. And lone wolves that were cast, I mean, you know what happens there. So, for example, I've seen people say, I'm so stuck. And that's because everyone around them was stuck. They say about the Bible, you are the product of the 5 people around you. It's that kind of mentality. And when they found communities, for example, women's circles, social groups, mom groups, business masterminds, social circles that share the same interests as them, they finally feel seen. So the right circle doesn't compete with you, they complete you. And if you don't have the circle, make one. Make one, like I did. I'll give you my example. My personal story about launching Ladies Lifestyle Network Hays County is this. I knew not one soul in Hays County before I literally launched the chapter. Not one person. And I was terrified. I was so scared that I was going to fail because I had 0 connections. And here I am launching a social network and I have no connections, right? That was a leap of faith. But guess what? I went for it anyway. Why? Because I didn't want to live with the regret and the thought of what if, right? What if I built my thing with, what if I build a social circle and it's amazing? And what if I built something so cool and so scary and it turned out better than what I planned? What if, right? And I also did have what if I fall flat on my face and this whole thing goes up in flames and I'm the person that tried something and I failed? But you know what? I would get to say, I tried it, I did it, I went out on a limb and I did it. And guess what? If I fail, I fail. And if it turns out a success, then that's great too. And guess what? My chapter is one of the leading chapters in the entire country. And I am so proud of myself that I took that leap of faith in myself of not knowing one person. And if I can do it without knowing a soul, and so terrified that I would fail, but I did it anyway, I know that you can too. Whoever is listening right now, you can do it. You can create a circle if you don't have one. And if you do, and you're really lucky enough that you already know amazing people in your life, reach out to them and feed those friendships. Take time for that aspect of your life too. It truly is who we are as humans. It's how we're made. I want you to ask yourself, who in my life expands me? And I want you to also ask yourself, who in my life drains me? And who do I need to invite into my circle of power? That's right. I'm going to name it your circle of power because I want you to rise up to your next level. I want you to feel that energy when you are around your choice of people. And people can either drain you or they can rise you, right? They can rise you up to your next level and you can feel so energized by being around the right people. Have you ever felt that where you're around somebody and you just feel their energy and it's contagious and it's amazing? I want you to have that. So think of your circle, your community, and tap into that and rise up to your next level. That is step 9. And step 10 is to commit to the climb. Listen, there's no quick fix. There's only the climb. Commit to the climb because you will be the one at the top of the mountain reaping the benefits. You will be the one looking at your journey from where you are now to where you are headed. And I want you to feel so proud of yourself and the work that you've done to get there. That top of the mountain, that journey, it can be yours with simple, real-world, practical steps to get there. Listen, life is messy. Growth is messy. Life gets overwhelming and there can be a million things on your plate. But commitment bridges the gap between dreaming and doing. And life is so hard and we have so many things that we juggle. And it is what it is, right? But I don't want you to look at your personal climb to your next level and say, I'll push this off until next week. Because guess what? Guess what you're really highly likely to do with your next week? It's going to be the next week and the week after that, and you're going to push it off to the next week after, and then the week after, and then here we are 4 months down the road, and you are in the same place because you procrastinated on the climb instead of committing to it. So you know what you want in life. You know where you want to be. It's only you that can get you there. Only you have the complete power to get you from point A to point B. And only you can truly and fully commit to the climb. So don't let life pass you by. Life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is your moment. And you are live, baby. You are live. So the climb may test you. The climb is the climb. It's going to test you. But every step proves you are stronger than the version of you who wanted to quit. And I want you to really remember that. The times that you want to quit and you don't, it proves that the version you are now is stronger than the you who wanted to quit. And I want you to pick a word, like, for example, unstoppable. And every time you want to give up, say it out loud. Anchor it in your body. And that is what's going to keep you going. You are unstoppable. And there you have it. Your 10 steps on the power pathway. Not theory, not fluff, not anything else. Just practical pathways so that you can actually live and live in the way you want to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And remember, awareness, feeling your emotions, rewriting your script, reigniting your identity, building that momentum, owning your energy, setting boundaries, embodying present tense power, calling in your circle, and last but certainly not least, committing to the climb. You don't have to master all of them at once, but start. Just start. Because your next level is already waiting for you. I'm Jessica Cherry, and this is She Will Empower. Until next time, rise, don't wait. You can follow me at She Will Empower and Life of a Cherry Wife, Lone Star Sound Bass, and Ladies Lifestyle Network Hayes. I'll see you later. Bye.